Emery Hall this is from a posting by Wild Woman Sisterhood. So while this is focused on women, let it be all-inclusive in the language. Make peace with all the women you once were. Lay flowers at their feet. Offer them incense and honey and forgiveness. Honor them and give them your silence. Listen, bless them, and let them be. For they are the bones of the temple you sit in now. For they are the rivers of wisdom leading you toward the sea. Isn't that beautiful? Make peace with all the women you once were. Make peace with all of the ages throughout your life. With all of the experiences throughout your life. Not your neighbor's life. Your life. All the changes, all the growth. All the different incarnations that you have been through and that you are going through. Lay flowers at their feet. Celebrate them. Offer them incense and honey and forgiveness. Honor them and give them your silence. Listen, bless them, and let them be. Sometimes it's difficult, isn't it, to go into, during those moments, those random moments when thoughts and memories come up. Sometimes they might be really fun and pleasant ones, and other times they may be more difficult. They might be harsh, they may be scary. Maybe something was done to you. Maybe it was something that you have done to yourself that has led you to whatever memory you may be holding on to. But lay flowers at their feet. Offer them incense and honey and forgiveness. Listen, bless them, and let them be, for they are the bones of the temple you sit in right now. It is what led you to this moment. It is what led you to be here now. I don't want to go there yet. Actually, do I want to go backwards? Yeah. Humankind, be both. This is a sign that we see frequently at any rallies of people gathering, calling for kindness and goodness, for equity in the world. And I love this so much. Humankind, be both. Be both human and be kind. Throughout the week, I've been playing with the idea of being humane. We often talk about being humane to our animals, but oftentimes we forget to be humane to other human beings and to ourselves. To be able to be truly humane in the world, we must first be able to treat ourselves with loving kindness. I love myself the way I am. As Ed sang this morning, I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. Unless, of course, you want to. And hopefully we are always evolving. But from the standpoint of there's nothing I need to change is the standpoint of not beating ourselves up for who we have been, or perhaps even who we are right now in this moment. but to find that place of loving forgiveness for ourselves and for others. I sometimes tell you more than what I wish I had told you later in the day as I'm reflecting on my talk, and I go, oh, geez, I told that story? But I'll share with you a story that just came through so loudly this morning as I was contemplating my talk of a period of time. I can't even tell you how long it lasted. Too long, in my estimation, when I was in the 3rd grade. And there was a person in the 4th grade who, when we were released for recess, whether it was to go outside, if it was a nice day in Lynn, Indiana, or if it was a rainy or cold day and we would go to the gym, she would wait for me. And she would, in my words, then maybe this sounds harsh, but it's my life, my interpretation, she would kidnap me and hold me hostage for the duration of recess. Whether it was in a corner of the gym or someplace in the playground. She didn't do anything else. She would just commandeer me. And me being who I was, a little scared kid who had 0 self-esteem, didn't know what to do. But that shaped my life so much, as you can imagine, that it could shape someone's life. Feeling like you have no power and no control over anything that is going on around you. I didn't know how to ask for help. And even though there were teachers around, no one noticed because there was no noise. There was no resistance. It was all done quietly. And I can't even tell you when it was that it finally stopped. But I will tell you that we went through all 12 years of school, and during high school choir, we sat next to each other in choir. I don't remember having any other real interaction with her throughout the years of school. But I do remember being curious during that hour of high school choir, sitting next to each other and singing in the alto section, of how just pleasant she was. Of course, we had both grown, right? But nothing was ever said by either one of us about that experience. I have no idea what her reality of that was. I still remember her name. But it came to me this morning, and there was not the energy on it and there hasn't been for years. But it's a memory that every now and then will come up of how easily our lives can be commandeered by someone else or by a thought system. Now, hopefully you haven't had an experience precisely like that, but in different ways. The media can totally commandeer our attention, right? I just use that as one example. And calling us back into this humankind, be both. This 4th grader was being human. She was not being kind. I don't know what had gone on in her life to cause her to be like that. I know what was going on in my life that caused me to be so passive and scared, because there were other things going on that I felt like I was always having to withdraw and hide from. We are both human and spiritual. And at this stage in our lives, whatever has gone before, I pray that we have the spiritual strength to be inquiring, if nothing else. When something doesn't feel right, to be able to stop and gently ask the question, this is an interesting feeling I'm having right now, whether it be anger, whether it be fear, whether it be confusion, whatever it may be. What is behind? What memory am I clinging to right now that is causing me to withdraw from my life, that is causing me to not being kind to myself? But to find a way forward in your spiritual strength, for it is in healing ourselves that we step forward and can be a light to help in the healing of others. So let us look at our unity principles based on Emery Hall's beautiful poem. There is only one presence and one power, that God the good. Every version of us has been held in that presence, is being held in that presence. Even the one who was afraid, even the one who didn't yet know better. The divine never abandons those versions of us. We abandon ourselves, not consciously, but we will go into fear, we will go into shutdown, we will go into denial, and we abandon ourselves, and we forget that we are one with the one presence and the one power. Our essence is divine. That means that our humanity, our imperfection, is not something to transcend. Our imperfection is something to love. Jesus did not come to show us how to escape our humanness, but how to embody God within it. When we are human with ourselves, gentle, patient, forgiving, then we can open the space to be human with one another. No matter what is going on in your life, no matter what is going on in your family, in the world, there is still room for that precious human kindness. Anger does not get us through to victory. Anger used rightly may motivate us into action, but anger held as revenge is not a tool of love. It's a tool of destruction. When we are human with ourselves, patient, forgiving, I think I read that, we open the space to be human with one another. This is the humanity that heals, not fixing, not correcting, but seeing the divinity even when it hides behind the pain. To be able to come together in a world where we are supportive and loving, where we see the needs of other people and we can show up and say, yes, I can get beyond my personal story, beyond my personal wounds that I have swam in and would like to float above and transcend, to find a way to engage with the world. I don't know if many of you heard this story. It happened, I believe, on October 7th. You can look it up online. I saw it and then I fact-checked it. In Sacramento, there was a medical helicopter that crashed on Highway 50. Did any of you see that? Fascinating story. It crashed on right Highway 50 and no cars were hit. Wow. I mean, that alone. But the fireman who was there knew that there were 3, they had dropped off their patient at UC Davis Medical Center, and there was the pilot, there were 3, they were all EMTs, all medical people, the pilot and then the nurse and maybe an EMT. Forgive me if I don't have the details right. One had been thrown out of the helicopter, the other the pilot was still in his seat, the nurse was under the helicopter. She was saved in that moment, but she did later die. Her name is Susie Smith. So our thoughts and love for her and for all of her family and loved ones. But what happened in those few moments was 15 people, men and women, lined up together and moved 8,000 pounds of helicopter to get her out from under the wreckage. These people didn't know each other. They didn't know what their gender identity is. They didn't pay attention to anything. They didn't pay attention to politics or you name it, whatever. They just saw that there was a person in need. 8,000-pound helicopter. 15 people lifted that enough together, came together enough in their humanity to do what needed to be done. Our essence is divine. We are one with the one presence and the one power. We are amazing and beautiful people, and we are capable of wondrous things. Begin with yourself. Unity Principle 3 and 4. Our thoughts create our experience, and through prayer and meditation, we align with God mind. Every thought of self-rejection is a thought that blocks the flow of life. Just as King Hezekiah's illness reflected a disordered house, every thought of blessing opens a river. So we practice blessing ourselves, blessing others, blessing the past. In the Old Testament, King Hezekiah, his father, I can't remember, King Asa, was not a very kind man and caused a lot of havoc. And Hezekiah didn't like that. And when his turn came, he changed a lot of things around to love. And he became ill. And he found, through prayer and calling out to the God of his understanding, to be renewed and to be healed. And the Bible story says, and he was given another 15 years. A man of faith, a man of humanity, and a man that called out for forgiveness to get his house in order, just as Myrtle Fillmore did in her healing journey that created a teaching by the name of Unity. Myrtle said, we are not to see evil in another or in ourselves, but to see the Christ of God. That's the deepest humanity, to see the Christ even in our mistakes and in the mistakes of others. And Unity Principle 5, we live the truth we know. We live by our divinity, not by perfection, but by compassion. To find that deep compassion for yourself and the compassion for others. To live truth is to embody it, to be kind to ourselves when we fall short, to hold space for another's process without judgment, to be peace in a world that can seem like it forgets how. But we know that's not true. We know that there is so much peace and that there's so much love and compassion. We know that we are capable of great forgiveness. Humanity is our divinity in motion. And I love this. It's how God wears skin. It's how love becomes visible. No matter what your journey has been, no matter what your third grade experience with a bully for whatever reason, what could have happened to a fourth grader that would have that much anger within her that she would target a little scrawny third grader who at that point was just learning how to speak properly, because I had a speech impediment when I started school, so I was an easy target. But I don't know what her story was, but there was something that caused. We hear all the time that hurt people, but we also know that healed people heal people. And so we want to be a part of that healing journey of healing ourselves and being a part of healing the planet. It's how love becomes visible. So from last week's talk, with this breath, am I at peace? With this breath, am I being compassionate towards myself? Am I being compassionate towards others? How am I using my energy? You hear me say often, what am I feeding the field? What am I feeding the field of universal consciousness, of universal vibration? Is my life, is my love, is my compassion feeding the field with love? Or am I holding on to whatever past hurts I may have caused myself or others, or mistakes that I feel that I have made? For there are no real mistakes, there are only lessons to be learned. And in those lessons we find compassion. So humankind, be both. And so it is. As we prepare our tithes and love offerings for Unity Merced, the gifts that allow us to continue to do our work of holding and being the light of love and compassion in the world. Just find your breath and affirm together. As I experience the awakening of divine consciousness, I offer this gift in celebration and thanksgiving.